Okay, let's move on in our AMA with Lady Collin Campbell and kickstart on Harry and Meghan's relationship. So this question has come from Space Cadet Lisa, who asks, please ask Lady C, does she envisage a divorce?
Things just got ugly. Lady Collin Campbell, never one to hold her tongue, has unleashed a firestorm against Meghan Markle in her latest AMA. She called Meghan a liar, cheat and phony, and this time, she's not pulling any punches, but the real shocker.
Between Harry and Meghan Markle. If so, how does she think it will play out and how much is she likely to get? I hear she wants ridiculous amounts, which is ridiculous for the son of a spare. Also, how does she see the children's, and she's put the children's in inverted commas, time being split between them? And how does she think their lives will be if they stay with Meghan Markle? Will Harry want them to know about their royal ancestry? Lady C, lots for you to go on there.
Well, Dan, I cannot, in all honesty, predict. I don't know whether they will ever get divorced. I know that the marriage is very rocky. I have personal sight of a union like that, my parents, and they remained together forever because it suited my mother to be married to a rich man. And really, it also suited my father to be married to a great socialite. But I think he genuinely loved her. I don't think she loved him for a second. But it suited her to stay, and she was the Meghan in the relationship in terms of being because women like that are usually extremely dominant, and they know how to play the vulnerability card and the innocent card, and then be the dominatrix in the next breath. So I think it depends on whether Meghan ever gets better. And I think if she doesn't get better, there's every likelihood the marriage will remain intact, no matter how unhappy it is, unless, of course, Harry does something irrevocable, which it's not likely that he would leave, because I don't think that he has sufficient character. But I think if they got divorced, the sums being bandied about are ridiculous, because the royal family would not be coming to Harry's rescue. They would not be funding a divorce to any extent. And they, at this point, wouldn't really care what Meghan tried to say or do, because Meghan has so discredited herself as a liar, a cheat, and a phony, that no matter what she says, it's going to be yesterday's news wrapping today's fish in a very short while. So there's no incentive for the royal family. And also, I'm told, and I see the wisdom of this, that in fact the royal family would be very happy to leave Harry to flounder, because they understand that she would be neutralizing Harry, and if they came to his rescue, they would be involving themselves in unpredictable melees down the line. Let's put it that way.
What she just revealed about Prince Harry standing with the royal family. If you've been wondering, will the palace swoop in to save Harry from a messy divorce? Then, spoiler, they absolutely won't. Let's break down Lady C's most jaw-dropping moment. She didn't mince words when asked about a Harry and Meghan split.
But I think if there's a divorce, it's going to have to go off what they have in their marital pot. And as for if there were a divorce, I think at that point, the state would kick in and ensure that the children had more of a British profile, and that they were more visible in England, and that that I think is something that would happen. I think her absolute control over them and over that family would be lessened.
LKDS6891 asks, Dan, Could you please ask Lady C whether Prince Harry has confided in any family members or friends about feeling deceived by Meghan? Despite his shortcomings, it's evident that he genuinely believed she loved him and was committed to joining him on a mission to make a positive impact on the world. Yet now we see her promoting her clothing line in a rather typical influencer fashion and sharing details about their children, whom he clearly wishes to keep out of the public eye. Has he expressed any sense of disillusionment about this to those close to him?
Oh dear, what an awkward question to have to answer. Um, my understanding is that there are members of the family who are very aware of the fact that the marriage is problematic. I don't want to say more than that, I don't think. Has he been disloyal and bleated about her to anybody? I wouldn't have put it quite like that, but he does and also the family is not in close touch with him now. Even those members of the family who were closer to him are less in touch with him now than they used to be. And many of them will have nothing to do with him whatsoever. So there's not quite the channels freely flowing that people might think there are. I think let's leave it at that.
Very well put. Mama MLA3455 asks, "Hi Dan, could you ask Lady C if Harry, or better yet the royal family, demand Meghan sign an NDA not to disclose information about their relationship, marriage and her time in the royal family if Harry and Meghan were to divorce?" Is that something they can do, Lady C? I mean, obviously all of the servants, all of the courtiers are subjected to NDAs effectively via the Official Secrets Act, but can you actually ask that of someone who married into the family?
Well, there's never been any need to ask it.
According to Lady C, their marriage is on shaky ground. She says it's less about love and more about power, image and comfort. She even compared Meghan to her own mother, claiming some women know exactly how to play both the victim and the dominator. So will they call it quits?
And there certainly would be a need with Meghan, but would they be able to enforce it even if they asked it? And therefore, why would they ask it? It's, they would have to they'd effectively have to be buying her silence. And then what would happen when she broke her silence? Would they have to take her to court? And they would be aware of the fact that if they did that, she would find a way of leaking the contents of the claim to TMZ or whomever. So I don't think that's a realistic prospect. My understanding is that they're quite comfortable about her saying anything and doing anything because she is a discredited individual. It's the case of the boy and crying wolf. Nobody's going to believe her, even if the wolf is at the door, people aren't going to believe her. So I don't think it's, and NDAs are things for staff. They're not things for members of the family.
Yeah, indeed. It's probably not realistic, is it? Darlene Mitchell 5402 says, after a divorce, Lady C, do you think Harry will ever ask for forgiveness and move back to the UK?
My understanding is that Harry's very proud and very headstrong and he's never in the wrong. So of course, if he's in the 12-step program, then he might want to make amends. But otherwise, I don't see him doing that. As for moving back to the United Kingdom, I don't see that either. He is discredited. He knows he's discredited. He's uncomfortable coming here because he knows that he is despised. And he's gone from being the best loved male member of the royal family, and for a short while, the best loved member of the royal family. I mean, normally it was the Queen, but he picked her to the post on one occasion. And he's very uncomfortable. Harry doesn't like being in situations where he's not adored and where he's not worshipped. And this was also one of the hooks that Meghan used to get him. Oh, you're so wonderful. You're so brilliant. Oh, don't tell me. Gosh, when you get up in the morning, you've got to put your foot on the ground. Thanks for letting me know that. No wonder I've never been able to travel great distances before. I thought I should put my foot in the lasso.
Lady C says, only if Meghan ever gets better. Translation, don't count on it. Now for the million-dollar question. Will the royal family help Harry if things fall apart? Lady C's answer, crystal clear, absolutely not. No legal teams, no PR, no hush money, nothing.
Jacob I asks, hi Dan, please ask Lady C, oh, this is a good question, Lady C, if there's anything she's written about the royal family which she regrets in hindsight.
No, absolutely not. Nothing. I'm very careful what I say and especially what I write. And my spontaneity is more apparent than real. Let's put it that way. I usually know exactly what I'm saying and what I'm doing. And you will know, Dan, you're a writer. You have plenty of time when writing something to make sure that you get it absolutely right. And I have developed the skill, I suppose you could say, over the years of being able to impart my thought and doing it in such a way that it is legally safe, it is legally sound, and there's no comeback to what I have said. And that is a skill that one has to develop because for instance, you can't say that somebody's a murderer unless you have them on tape having murdered somebody and it's verifiable. What you can do is make the point that they are murderers without actually saying it. And so no, there's nothing that I've ever said that I regret. And also, a lot of what I say has come from royals themselves or people very close to them. And so sometimes I put it in their mouths. For instance, the cookie question was from the Duke of Windsor and the Duchess of Windsor and Margaret, Duchess of Argyll. And so I put it in the Duke of Windsor's mouth because that's the original source for it. So no, I don't regret. I'm very careful what I say and I'm very measured about what I say. And I stand by what I say because I'm not trying to harm anybody. I'm trying to give a fair and true and somewhat sympathetic but accurate picture of complex lives in complex situations.
Lady C, what about after I'm fascinated by this, because obviously I didn't know you then. What about after the death of Princess Diana in 1997? Your book on Diana was obviously so far ahead of its time, and you stuck by it, and you were proven right. I mean, on every revelation really from Diana in private. But what happened to you in that hysteria after Diana's death? Did anyone criticize you at that point?
The palace sees Meghan as a liability, a discredited figure whose words just don't carry weight anymore. And bailing Harry out? That would only pull the monarchy deeper into chaos. So they're letting him flounder, and they're totally fine with it. If you're loving this royal drama and want the truth behind the headlines, smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications.
No, not really that I can remember. I mean, it's so long ago, but I don't remember being criticized. No. I mean, the week after her death, I was flown to Germany. I was flown to New York. I mean, in those days you didn't have Zoom, and everything was. And I was constantly being taken to the palace and all about the place. And I had a broken toe. I'd broken my toe. Uh, the the Friday before. I so I'd broken it, so I could barely walk. And if you look at the clippings of the shows, you will notice that I'm the only person who never walks onto a show. I'm seated because I had to hobble. But I didn't get any criticism that I am aware of, that I can remember, because by then, you see, people knew that my book was accurate, because Diana herself had gone to great pains to make the point that a lot of the contents in my book that had been rubbished, for instance, her affair with James Hewitt, her relationship with Barry Manakee, she confirmed them before she died. So no, the hottest period I had was before the publication of the Morton book and after the publication of my book. Those several months where it was just my book, and I had Dickie Arbiter, for instance, was going around briefing against me, saying defamatory things about me and telling lies about me. And of course, they got back to me through various people who knew me, some of whom you know, Dan, some of whom you've entertained, some of whom I've spoken to at your parties. and that was the hottest time. But once the palace knew that the Morton book was coming out, they started to direct journalists and foreign reporters to me. And I remember a German television crew phoned me up and said they'd like to interview me, that the palace had told them, oh, you don't need to ask us what's going on. Ask Lady Collin Campbell. She knows everything, and she's absolutely sound and solid. And when I said, and who told you that? And I phoned up Jeff Crawford, who was at the palace at the time, and I gave him a bollocking, the like of which, and everybody knows I'm very good at bollocking when I need to. I said to him, how dare you think that you can use me like this? I said, and I'm not a paid servant of yours, and don't you dare do things like that, blah, 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 blah. Because, of course, just a few months before, they'd been rubbishing me, and I thought, I'm not standing for it. But so even the palace, before the Morton book came out, was busy directing journalists to me. So, I mean, the whole situation was truly extraordinary and bizarre. But once it became apparent to them that Diana had helped with my book and the Morton book, they thought, wow, we'd better really be sensible. And they understood that my book was the book that would save Charles's bacon, because but for my book, Diana would have had a clear run to destroy Charles's reputation, which is what she tried to get me to do and what she got Morton to try to do. Fortunately, she didn't succeed on either front.
No fluff here, just facts. Lady C has made it clear the royal family is done playing Meghan's game. No more rescues, no more silence. If this marriage collapses, it's Harry and Meghan versus each other, and the monarchy will just be watching from the sidelines. Now, let me know in the comments. Should the palace step in, or is it already too late to save Prince Harry? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next Royal Deep Dive.